Hello everyone, hello friends. August the 1st it is. Wow. 7 months we made it already through this game changer of a year. I guess we can definitely see that very clearly now. It's just all a matter how far can we push the lever here. How fast can we progress with getting into the cracks and prying the whole structure open even more so this is an amazing time we're getting into. August will be just beyond the charts, and it started with quite an event on the 28th of July. It was with a X-class flare towards Mercury, and hours later, pretty much exactly when that hit, when that wave which was blasting off from the sun towards Mercury was hitting Mercury, about five hours later, I exactly calculated it. That was when Mercury entered Virgo as seen from Earth, 0 degrees Virgo here. It was quite again a clear sign from existence. This is an important moment. Pay attention. This is what matters. And that's the main reason actually I really always like to be on the crest of the wave with also what I'm talking about. I don't like to go too far into the future. It gets way more uncertain. It's like weather. The best weather reports you get for the day after and the following 2 or 3. The same with astrology, maybe a little more expansive. I would say it's a few weeks down the road we can usually predict quite exactly where it's going, and I tell you, the next few weeks into October 4, actually, that is that big window. Mercury is in Virgo. Mercury will, if we look at it here for a minute, Mercury will go into the 22nd degree of Virgo and turn retrograde on the 23rd of August. Maybe a date to mark on your calendar. Mercury retrogrades are really important to watch for very mundane purpose matters usually. I don't really subscribe to any of the ill effects too much. If you are well prepared, if you have backed up your system and don't buy a new appliance in that time. That's kind of the basic rules. Aside from that, the Mercury retrograde phases are, as all retrograde phases, extremely powerful times of going back over the books and preparation both. It's really the time of inhale, and an inhale always is carrying the intention already to what is to come, the next outhale. It is that moment before you jump into the water, for example, do a dive. The inhale is really where the whole action starts. This is where the timing is starting to tick, and then the moment you reach that crest of fullness, you are getting into action mode. That's when the planet then moves direct. So that's what we explored in the last video very clearly, with Venus and Chiron going backwards on that same day, the July the 23rd, which was definitely a landmark date. Again, the 23rd, it happened over and again this year already. The 23rd always seems to carry a special importance, power, and it's again really amazing this year to see the synchronicity, how each time on that 23rd there is a major alignment of sort, something which truly stands out. So Mercury in Virgo, clearing away obstacles. That is the power of Virgo. Virgo is the sign of method, of focus, systematic approach. It's very complex in its understanding. It is really that scientific mind which can see and weigh in on two opposite opinions and find a conclusion. Is that philosophical, well, not yet quite philosophical, that's more Sagittarian, but it definitely is very practical and analytical, yes, precise, and on the shadow side, to say OCD, pedantic, rigid, overstructured, dogmatic. I wrote here down, yes, these are definitely the dangers to look out for. Always with earth signs, we get a little bit, there's a tendency to get into too much structure, too much rigidity, so you have to stay in a flow. That's the challenge for earth signs in general. But aside from that, Mercury in Virgo is in honor. It's one of the 2 signs Mercury rules in, and whenever it happens that Mercury is having its retro loop within its own sign, that makes it definitely standing out, very obvious. This is a very powerful time we are heading into of clarification. Yes, that's the basic word. And it so happened, as Mercury was receiving this big wave of solar energy right at that moment, it's just really remarkable. And I'm showing you here the story from ABC. I have here documented it in these different screenshots I took from the space weather page. That was on the 28th of July. Departing sunspot AR3372 erupted on July the 28th, producing a M-class solar flare and a magnificent plume of debris. So this flare, as it says here, left the sun earlier today, hours away from slamming into Mercury. According to a NASA model, the impact will pepper Mercury with high energy electrons. New research shows that this will probably ignite X-ray auroras at ground level on Mercury's rocky surface. Wow, how exciting. Mercury on fire, literally charged up, sparkling. I always get that picture of Tesla sitting there in his experimentation chamber, and there's lightning bolts left, right, and center. That's kind of how it feels. Mercury supercharged up, and here they keep saying that was published right on the 28th, and this is a real-time picture of one of the telescopes who was online. Quite an amazing flame is sent out in Mercury's direction. The fiery loop that catapulted away from the sun was wide enough to swallow about 20 planet Earths. And figure Mercury is much smaller than Earth, so about 60 planet Mercuries or so. Really got right into that headwind. It won't be swallowing our planet though, yes, because it goes another way, because it is heading in the wrong direction. Like several other significant explosions in July, this one will miss Earth. Well, see, they were not right on that prediction, because they actually already pretty much hours after, very shortly after, they published this map. Protons are hitting Earth's atmosphere yesterday. Okay, that was the day after the eruption. A magnificent eruption near the sun's northwestern limb hurled a cloud of energetic protons towards Earth. This is that wave of physical energy which travels roughly, usually around 300 kilometers per second. When a solar flare gets off, this speed can go up to 2,000 kilometers or more per second. That's why it's so difficult to calculate. You never exactly know how fast that wave is coming in, how many hours it takes. But with all the satellites now, they have more and more ability to exactly measure it, and the forecasts definitely have become much better. So they found then that there were protons coming towards Earth. They are hitting our planet today. That was the 29th of July, causing an S1 class solar flare. That is a radiation storm. The main effect of the storm is a polar cap absorption event. That means the many wavelengths of particularly shortwave radios were distorted in that area. Red zones in this global map show where shortwave transmissions are being absorbed. Frequencies below 15 megahertz are almost completely blacked out, while anything below 35 megahertz is being attenuated at least a little. What's causing this? It's all those protons. Protons, that is basically a helium atom, an ion, positively charged. One proton, one electron, that is the helium atom, the most basic of all elements. Element 1, Earth, which the Sun consists of mainly, as we probably all know. Earth's magnetic field funnels the particles towards the poles. It's like that, the torus field of the Earth's magnetic field. So the field lines they meet, they come into Earth, and that's across along these lines is where the protons are mainly flowing, and that's why it's the polar caps which mostly receive that energy, and where their ionizing effect causes the absorption of shortwave radio. So this is really what it means. It's a solar energy is directly inserted into Earth's field. Earth is charged up too in that sense, which was unexpected. The day prior they thought it was totally miss Earth. So the polar cap absorption event is intensifying. You can monitor its progress here, and this was then the day after, the 30th. Protons are still hitting Earth's atmosphere. For the second day in a row, energetic protons from the Sun are raining down on Earth's atmosphere. This is called a radiation storm, and it was caused by a magnificent eruption on July the 28th. Here they show that picture again, and here they keep saying the blast site was hidden from view just behind the Sun's northwestern limb. Earth orbiting satellites registered an M4 class solar flare, but the underlying explosion was stronger. It was probably an X-flare, as I already said, partially eclipsed by the edge of the Sun, so it was already kind of behind the western horizon. And that's why it only was measured at the magnitude 4.1. If it would have been Earth-facing, they say it would have been way, way bigger, probably 100 times or even more than that. How can a sunspot not facing Earth send so many protons in our direction? The answer is the Parker spiral. Here they explain it, how that happened, that the energy spirals away from the Sun. Like water flowing from a twirling lawn sprinkler. Lines of magnetic force emerging from behind the Sun's northwestern limb, where the explosion happened, spiral back and make a direct connection to Earth. It's a superhighway of energetic protons. The radiation storm looks like it will continue at S level for at least one more day, so 3 days in a row after the explosion, which was not even seen directly observed from Earth. It must have been really a strong blast. Anyway, you get the picture. Here is the Sun today, just giving you a little bit of a picture of how many sunspots there are right now. This is a particularly intense one today. Has already released today, August 1st, I guess 10 M-class flares. Just show you this quickly. I have the page up here and open. Here it shows you, this is all the spikes above this line here. These are all M flares and you see there's many double spikes. It's been a very busy day in flares. If you look at the 7-day picture, then you see this was that huge flare on the 28th. It doesn't show up that much because this is quite a small graphic, but you have to keep in mind this is a logarithmic scale. So if this is 1, this is 10, this is 100, this is 1000, this is 10,000, and this is 100,000. So it is really then it starts making sense, the intensity. Anyway, let me see if I have one more picture here. Yes, I wanted to show you this one too. That is from the Lockheed Martin site, LMSAL, a very good site for real-time solar information. Here you have very recent pictures of the sun. So this is the region which is most active today, which has sent out about, as I said, 10 M-class flares so far. Then here, this is what I wanted to show you. This was, okay, this is July the 29th. So the big flare was this one here, this spike. And then what you see, this is the protons, the charged protons they were measuring in Earth's vicinity. And you see they sort, these are different levels of charge. So naturally the blue ones are the ones which are highest charge, I guess a 50 million electron volt or so. But you see this wave has been up 29th, 30th, and even then on the 31st, still the energetic intensity is definitely higher than it's been in a long time on an ongoing pace. And then here you have the last flares. This is for those of you who are interested in getting all these exact informations. This is all starting here August the 1st, and then all these M-class flares you see, and here you get the coordinates on the solar surface, south 9, west 40. That's always naturally as seen from Earth. This is the sunspot number where the flares are emerging from, and you see it keeps going here. There were really many flares. So yes, they are all kind of still average, I would say, in respect to being in the solar maximum. So yes, definitely above average if you go all over the 11-year cycle, but during that intense phase of about 2 years usually, where the sun is peppered constantly, there has not been a single day this year without at least one spot on the sun, one little black mark, which is a twisted and contorted spot of magnetic field lines. That's basically what sunspots are. And where these fields collapse, they produce these eruptions, these flares, these shooting out of fire in a particular direction. The sun is a living organism. It's intelligent. It's actually directly connected to our intelligence, because we are part of nature and we resonate on a collective field. Lynn Taggart was one of the first scientists to really tap into that. She actually wrote a book, The Field, which is a physical reality. We are tuned into it, and naturally when the sun is pumping out extra energy, this is fed into the field, and each of us will feel it in our own way, naturally, depending on our response to that extra energy. That's basically what it is. It can go both ways, naturally. You can suffer from it, and you can feel it as difficult, or you can use it as a surfboard and ride the wave and make the best out of it. Yes, it has not been easy days, I found too. Now I just want to go back to the chart of the solar flare quickly, because this is where it all started. 3:58 on July the 28th. And here you see this is the moon was right at the ascendant, and we're getting back to that Sagittarian moon at the ascendant, as this is a repeating pattern. So, and that's always what I base my predictions on. If we have repeating patterns, then something is gaining stability. An energetic structure is getting reinforced, and for that it can hold more. It can, in that sense, also receive and channel more energy into this dimension. So it is these repetitions which really are quite something. And if I speak of that, I have to show you right away. This is Mercury entering the next hexagram. Okay, I'm jumping ahead of myself here. There's 64 hexagrams around the zodiac. I guess you who follow this channel are familiar with that already. If not, please go to my old website, which is now a resource page. Really, I cannot really update it anymore. I lost that ability, so forgive me for that, but it's a great resource page, thecosmoswithin.org, where you find the breakdown of the 64 hexagrams. Mercury in the 30th degree to start with. Yeah, let me get there. I should build the story. It's kind of the things I sometimes do. I jump from A to a totally different place in this novel, so I have to keep more consistent. Okay, I'm learning. So basically, with still mostly Leo energy at the forefront, as today is full moon, naturally, even more so, but also Aquarius energy today, but mostly Leo, the sun in the first half of Leo. That is combustion. That's the word Dane Rudyard gives these first 15 degrees of Leo: combustion and then release. So Mercury here is in the last degree of the release phase. That's why I think this is the basic energy we are in right now, from combustion to release. The next stage then, when the Virgo energy starts dominating, which will be starting August 23rd, then it will be characterization and education. So these are two keywords already for Mercury, Mars and Pallas, actually all in the characterization period of starting to name things, I would say, starting to give them recognition. That's why I also said clearing away obstacles. It's that phase of figuring out what is really going on, what is wrong, where are the things we should really see. It's really a recognition phase which is going on, based and fueled by the sun in the combustion phase, and then getting into the release within a week now or less. So Mercury in the last degree of Leo it was when that boost was received. So that 30th degree of Leo, and I want to read you again a few things here out of the Sabian Symbol book by Dane Rudyard, that's translation I'm using here. An unsealed letter. Well, a letter, that's pretty Mercurian already. The realization by the individual that all thoughts and all messages are inevitably to be shared with all men. Okay, there's some collectivity in this degree. Whatever is experienced will be widely known, will be distributed, and the keyword is sharing. Very simple, sharing. That's the keyword Rudyard comes up. Okay, this is exciting. It's getting really exciting, folks, I tell you. So at 007 and 30 seconds in, Virgo starts a new hexagram, which is hexagram 59, and that was the last few days we experienced that energy. We are right now actually in the very last segment of it. 5:45 will be the cutoff where we enter the next hexagram, and that's really what got me super excited when I just pulled this chart up. Let me go back to where I have it here. Yeah, it is okay, where did I write it down? The number 1586, that's the number here in my catalog of open charts. I'm getting better at finding what I'm looking. No, this is not what I'm looking for. That's another one. It was the okay, I guess. Where do I have it? Okay, now Mercury here. Okay, here we go. 2004. That's the one. Dynamic. Actually, I have it open. I didn't expect it. So, Mercury entering hexagram 40. That is coming up tomorrow morning, and you see the same ascendant again as the big event. And that's what I mean. That's when things get activated. So, okay. The last few days, let's keep this chart up for a moment here. That's tomorrow morning when hexagram 40, which is deliverance. That's a liberation, something breaking open, something being... I mean, already this dispersion phase is similar, which were the last few days, and I wrote down it was a feeling of a bit being lost. It's the wind above the water is the pictogram in the Chinese the two elements which make up the hexagram, the 6 lines. Below is water, above is the wind. The wind is dispersing the water. In that sense, the water disappears literally. So it is always a little bit of a time of a let go, of allowing things to happen. And it is always a blessing, because it is, the water is rising into a higher dimension in a way. It is that transcendence in a way, that which is built in nature, that water vaporizes into thin air. The phase change, very, very important. So yes, a bit feeling lost, time for allowing the dust to settle, the ripples to fade out our road. So this is the phase we are in, and it's really interesting. I mean, I always kind of have to get ready for a recording, and I wanted to do one already days ago. Yes, there were many things happening in my life too. There were unexpected events, as we all deal with, but overall I kind of really tried to get something here out, because I know you're now hooked, and that's nice. I very much appreciate that. I actually want to say thank you so much to all you new subscribers. Thank you, Magenta Pixie, for sharing the link to my video. If you haven't seen it, the last one it was. Anyway, what I want to say is, well, maybe one more thing on that line. Thank you for all the comments too, and most of all, those of you who are supporting me, sending donations my way. So wonderful, so much appreciated. I am, each time it gives me a lift up and tells me, yes, you're doing the right thing. It is not wasted energy, because sometimes it looks like that. I'm spending hours and hours in front of the screen. Yes, it's my passion. Yes, I love doing it, but still, it's lovely to get that echo and to share my knowing and my, yeah, you could say the fruit of my research in a way. That's what I like to share with you guys. And astrology, again, I mean, it's an amazing tool, and we have all these powerful computers now at hand which calculate any chart in the click of a button. So there is this ability to really dwell in the abundance of what is going on out there. And as you see, I mean, yes, my charts are full of different points. I'm rarely speaking of even a few of those, and so don't worry about that too much. If something is important, I'm definitely trying to give you an insight, and the longer you're here, the more you are becoming an expert too. It's really like a soap opera, a big soap opera. That's how you should see it, with all these many characters. And yes, there's so many characters which barely have been introduced, which are, yes, still here, kind of the circumference. And yes, if you're interested, you can always look them up. What I like to do when I do my own research, just put in the name, BNR, for example, put in planet and put in astrology, something like that, and then usually at least a couple links, usually 4 to 6 links, come up of different astrologers having already published something about that particular one. So yes, there's an abundance of information. The internet is an amazing resource. Yes, it was designed, as we all know, probably for control purpose. We are making the best use of it. I guess we already have, as we do on all ends and all dimensions, we are outperforming their attempts, pushing it into the stratosphere where they can't really breathe anymore, where they can't keep up with us anymore. So that's literally the way we are going. And with Mercury now having been so supercharged, it is really knowing, understanding, realizing, truth, wisdom. All these words have just become way more heavy in a way, loaded, filled, and in that sense impactful. So yeah, I guess we certainly all have our stories. If you watch now, normal people are starting to say, well, I mean, this is just not in sync with what I'm experiencing in this world, what is told that should be happening. It's just there's no match anymore between that image that is projected onto our minds of what we should see in the world and what we really see and feel and experience. It's totally different, and the divergence is ever greater. And I guess that's what really has been necessary to get to that extreme point where it goes so much into two different directions that it is really not possible to miss it anymore. Yes, I know it is still a way to go for many people. It is just there's such an enormous investment in what they have been believing and literally living for their whole lives, however long that might be. And they're definitely, in that sense, the younger people are kind of a little bit in an advantage position. They have a little bit less to lose, but still, I guess it is difficult for each and everyone who has not yet really got their head above the fence and see the bigger picture of what's going on around their small yard, which is yes, having these high security fences, and yes, they tell you these fences are electric, don't touch them, you can't even think of climbing them. That's kind of the message people are given. Yes, fear is used. This is the main thing. However, again, the more it's overdone, the more we are waking up to it. Now, look at this chart. I think this is really the one chart I want to focus on the most today, and I guess I won't get through all my charts. That is not really that important. I might do a second part and go through more of the details, maybe not. I never exactly know what I should say here, because yes, too long of a presentation is kind of making it less attractive. So let me keep it short this time and then do an extra one for those of you who are really interested to go a bit more into the depth of it all. So this is the important chart. That is the ingress of Mercury into Virgo, which, as I say, happened roughly 5 hours and 30 minutes after the big impact. And as I say, I calculated it. 58 million kilometers by average is Mercury away from the Sun. If we divide those 58 million kilometers by 5 hours and 33 minutes, which is that time span between when the flare went off, shooting off all that powerful wind blast of protons towards Mercury and impacting with it 5 hours 33 minutes. If we divide those 58 million kilometers, you get the speed of roughly 2,900 kilometers per second, and that's within the range of what I heard. Yes, 3,000 is usually the exit speed around an X-class flare, and Mercury is really much closer, so it will be much more directly in that hot zone. Anyway, that was kind of the moment when the wave hit. Well, again, plus minus maybe half an hour or so, but the synchronicity is astounding again. And you can go back to my earlier recording where I speak of these amazing synchronicities of big solar flares with important events. The last one I did was on when the lunar nodes changed signs, which was just barely 10 days ago, entering Aries. The lunar nodes move backwards, for those of you who are new here. The only real steady moving backward thing, the meeting point of solar and lunar energy, the direction of evolution at present in a collective way, seen now in Aries. Yes, taking charge, as I said, and getting into the driver's seat and using our skills of handling people, of being open and receptive and ready to negotiate for the truth, which doesn't mean that we are compromising. That is two totally different stories. Negotiating is a way of meeting in the middle, kind of how much can the other person take. I guess that's the best way to phrase it. Very diplomatic, and yes, also very I mean, Libra is a cardinal sign. Yes, it is the one of the air elements as such are very adaptable. However, as a cardinal sign, it has a very clear direction and intention, and it is about, again, Rudyard, quoting Rudyard, the two words for Libra, which will become fully accentuated after the Sun moves into Virgo naturally on the 23rd of September, which is transfiguration and reconstruction. So it is a truly collective sign, collective reorganization, yes. That is the South Node, yes. That is what we already know how to handle it. That's kind of the wonderful thing with that South Node now in Libra. There's this deep understanding how to bring people together. It is intuitive. It is coming from a place of inner guidance, of just following the intuition. Anyway, so Neptune. Again, so many times we have seen Neptune so centrally placed, either at the 4th house, cast the 7th, the 10th, or the 1st, or then opposite the moon, conjunct the moon, you name it. If you go back through my last, 10-15 recordings, which are all still very valid. You see, I'm always adding a new chapter to the book, and if you go back, you will more understand what's happening now. It's because many of these things which we are talking about last for months or even years on end. These are long-time trends. I'm rarely speaking about short-lived things. It's at least usually 6 to 8 weeks. That's kind of what I'm focusing on. As I say, the time frame I like to overlook and have an understanding of where we're going. Yes, the longer pictures are important too, and I have given that away several times. I'm really more clear. It will be 2026. When the singularity event is coming. That big merger of all timelines, of all frequency bands into a yet unimaginable breakthrough into a oneness, which does not mean we lose our identity. We will have both. We will be as one, but still each have our own personal and viewpoint and intelligent, and we have access to the whole group mind, which is yes, hard to wrap one's mind around it at this point. This is where we are going. That's why there's so much purification still to happen. And the more, actually this is something Jacqueline Hobbs, Oracle Girl, is over and again saying, what we experience right now in this present time is what's boiling up to the top of the pot, and as it comes up, let it be there, let it evaporate. It will purify just by simply being recognized. That's our role in that game of giving it the recognition, and do not either accept it nor refuse it. Just let it be what it is. It will leave on its own, and it is truly my experience that is happening. You just watch, you sit there on the sideline and watch what life brings you. Say thank you to all the curveballs and the unexpected twists and turns. They're all very valid and valuable. Each of these events has its meaning, and in the past it might have taken us years or even decades to understand why a certain hardship was actually fueling our growth and giving us depth and more truth in a way of who we are, finding ourselves kind of. These days it seems this interval has become so short now. Within minutes, sometimes you can see, okay, this is something I better embrace and say yes to, because I already see the benefit it brings into my greater understanding. And it is exactly that which is now happening at lightning speed with Mercury and Virgo particularly. So the last 5 days still now in 59 dispersion, that letting go phase of allowing the dust to settle, to the ripples to fade out. Tomorrow, as Mercury enters hexagram 40, yes, that is when it will get super interesting, with the moon by then just already in the 16th degree in the second half of Aquarius. Aquarius, the two keywords Rudyard gives here are let me, I just had it in my mind, I wrote it down, let me see, it is here. Yeah, you see, I'm still learning too. Contribution and management, that's the two words. Yeah, we keep learning. Every day brings new insights, new revelations, and putting things together, particularly if you're looking into astrology. Every day something else opens up. So hexagram 40, let's go there for a minute. Okay, I guess that's the one. Yep. Okay, let me shift this a little bit. Deliverance. Above is the thunder, below is water. So hexagram 59, we are just coming out of, there was water below and the wind above, which was that dispersion. Now we have water below and thunder above. Here the movement goes out of the sphere of danger. That was 59. Yes, there is danger when there's water and wind. This can mean high waves too, as naturally when the wind interacts with water, this can create a storm even. The obstacle has been removed. The difficulties are being resolved. Deliverance is not yet achieved. It is just in its beginning, and the hexagram represents its various stages. Now, what is really important here is that, yes, Mercury will be in that hexagram between 5 degrees 45 and 11:22 and 30 seconds. Pretty much from within a few hours now at 5:45, as you see, 5:39, that's the reading here of here when I'm recording. This is the live positions of the planets down here. So basically August 2nd till August 7th, and then as Mercury turns, as I told you earlier, in the 22nd degree on the 23rd of August, again the 23rd, keep that again in mind, it's always the 23rd where big stuff happens. This year next year will be the 24th, but it is, I already have seen it, January the 24th is just the first day which jumped to mind. February 24th, I guess, is when Neptune is changing again into the 27 degree 30 minutes, changing the dwarf. That's another one which I could tell you stories about. Anyway, what I want to say, Mercury comes back into this hexagram and will be again in there from the 9th of September into the 23rd, as it turns direct again on the 15th of September. So yes, Mercury will go direct, will first of all go retrograde on the 23rd of August, and will again change to direct motion on the 15th of September, which will really be the center period, that critical loop of clearing away obstacles. Now we're getting ready, we're starting to recognize them. Then the retrograde period will be when there will be some action in that direction. Yes, it's already happening, it is a constant thing, but the retrogrades are famous for that, of really throwing things off into a whole new direction, twisting the plot in a way, and it is truly looking like that. It's going to be super interesting. So hexagram 4D, let's just read a little more about it before we keep on, because it is a key to understand what's coming. Deliverance, the southwest furthest. If they're southwest, that is naturally the direction of Scorpio. South is up and west is the descendant, and in between that's how I say it's Scorpionic. So southwest furthest, that means definitely there's a change in the air, transformation. If there is no longer anything where one has to go to, return brings good fortune. If there is still something where one has to go, hastening brings good fortune. An oracle. This refers to a time in which tensions and complications begin to be eased. Yeah, there's liberation, deliverance. At such times, we ought to make our way back to ordinary conditions as soon as possible. This is the meaning of the southwest. Okay, that is the meaning here. These periods of sudden change have great importance. Just as rain relieves atmospheric tension, making all the buds burst open, so a time for deliverance from burdensome pressure has a liberating and stimulating effect on life. One thing is important, however, in such times we must not overdo our triumph. The point is not to push on farther than is necessary. Returning to the regular order of life as soon as deliverance is achieved brings good fortune. Nothing to brag about, just do your job. That's also very Virgo. If there are any residual matters that ought to be attended to, it should be done as quickly as possible so that a clean sweep is made and no retardations occur. A clean sweep. Thunder always has that energy of clearing the air, of bringing in something new and fresh. Okay, I guess I leave it at this here. Thanks for watching, and if you're interested in the details, I'm just continuing here with the second video and give you those too. So don't worry, be happy. Love you all. Thanks again, and see you soon.